All right then, so now let's try to sign in with the email and password. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my email address and I'm just going to say something over here. And if I click sign in, of course, it's going to give me an invalid credential because I don't have this account yet in my hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this and I'm going to use a temporary email. So if I click login and if I go here and if I search for temp mail, so I'm going to use a temporary email because we are going to get the confirmation link to sign up over here, right? So I'm going to delete some unwanted browsers tab over here. Okay, so this is the email I'm going to use. Copy it, go here. I don't need this. I think this is the project which we are working. Yes, this is the one. All right, so let me get back to the users table. So far in the users table, we don't have anything. Completely, it's empty. So let me get back over here. And if I click sign up, and if I click this email, paste it, and I'm going to use this password, admin at 123 or something, right? And now if I click sign up, and you can see it's signing up, and you can see check your email for confirmation link. Now if I get back over here, and there we go, we are getting the confirmation link. And if I open it and I get the confirmation link, and if I click this link, you can see it's getting back to the code with that confirmation link. So we are successfully authenticated, right? So if I get back to the users tab, which over here users table, you can see we have the ID and we don't have this remaining informations, but we have the ID, right? So if you get back over to the authentication, you can see the user information, which email that user is used, and what is the user ID. And if you get back to the user table also, if you get back to the users table, we have that user ID. So we don't have to worry about the remaining URLs and all those things. So far, which we are authenticated. So which means I'm going to use this and I'm going to get back over here, click this, and I'm going to use the email and I'm going to type that password and I'm going to click sign in. There we go. So it's working perfectly. So our user details is saved over there and everything is working perfectly as it's supposed to be. Cool, right? And now all we have to do is to go ahead and authenticate ourselves using the GitHub. And that's what we are going to do next. All right then, so in order to do your GitHub authentication, so let's open up our GitHub profile. So github.com. So open up your GitHub profile and go to your repository. Wait a minute. Let me go to my repository. Oh, sorry. Click the settings and go to all the way down and click the developer settings and click this OAuth apps and create a new OAuth app, and here give the name as YouTube, Spotify, clone, and homepage URL. Of course, the homepage URL is going to be this. So copy this and paste it over here. And the callback URL is going to be get back to your projects over here and go to the authentication and where is the auth? So click the providers and email is already enabled. And if you get back to the GitHub over here, it's disabled. So click here and enable this. And this is your callback URL. Copy this callback URL and put it over here. All right. And then click register application. So click this. And over here, this is our client ID. Copy this client ID and put it back inside here. And client secret. So generate new client secret. Type your password. And then copy this client secret and put it over here. Because if you close this, you might lose your client secret, right? So save those changes. Save it. All right, now it's successfully saved. And if I get back over here, if I click this, if I click sign in with GitHub, that should take me to my GitHub authorization page. Here we go. And if you click this authorize with my account, it should be authorized back over here. So we are successfully authenticated ourselves with our the GitHub account. You can see my GitHub account is authenticated successfully in GitHub. And if I get back to the users table as well as, I can see one more user created over there. Here we go. My name and my URL and everything is there, right? So ourselves, we logged in ourselves with our GitHub. and now I need to display the user records. I can't keep on authenticate myself, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the user information. So I need to get the user information and I need to display that user information inside our I need to render that user information based that information only I need to display it, right? So what I'm trying to say is I'm going to the main container. Right after here, I'm going to get this const Supabase client. Const Supabase client is equals to use Supabase Supabase client. Yes, this is, and make sure that is been coming from here, right? And then right after here, then I need to get the user object also. Const user is coming from use user, which makes sure that you're getting from it your custom hook use user, right from there. Okay, and let's get the user instance. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more function, const handle logout. Logout equals to, it's going to be a callback function, and this function should be an asynchronous function. And inside here, const, let's get the error. Okay, we are going to get the error. Await Supabase client dot auth object dot sign out. We are trying to sign out the user, sign out, right? If there is any error, we will get that. If not, we are going to refresh the router. So let's get the router. So const router equals to use router from where? From the next navigation. Using the router object, I'm gonna say refresh. Let's refresh it. Yes, if there is an error, if any error it's been happening, I'm just going to say console.log that error. All right, so save these changes, and now let's get back to the bottom, all the way to bottom over here. So this is the place where we need to display the image, right? That's the place where we need to display the image. So what I have to do is I have to display that information. So I have to display that user information. So now I have the user information in this object user over here. So what I'm going to do is it needs to be displayed, these both of them. So what I'm going to do is over here, if I have the user object, I need to display some, or else I need to display some. If I have the user object, I need to display this division. If I don't have, I need to display this button. Save the changes. Now you will have only the division. The reason because we already logged in successfully, which means we have the user information. If we have the user information, what I have to do, I have to display the profile image URL, which means if the user have the profile image URL, I need to display that avatar URL. So over here, I'm going to render one more time. If the user object is there, and if the user object have that user meta information, inside that meta information, if he is having the avatar URL, so inside that you might have this object avatar URL, copy it and paste it. If he's having that, then what I need to do, I need to render the image. If not, I need to render a paragraph tag. Okay, for inside this image. Okay, so for this what we can do is we can keep this as an image. This image should come from next image. For this you need to supply the source. So for the source, what we are going to use, for the source we are going to get the same thing, copy this, copy and paste it over here. Okay, copy and paste it over there, and okay, and then wait a minute. Okay, so after here, alternative, let's keep it as empty, then it should fill. Okay, and class name, it's going to be width full, it should be absolute height full, and object cover and rounded full. save these changes, and now rendering it, we are getting the user object. Okay, so we have to do this, yeah, because we are using this image, right? So what we have to do is we have to configure in our next config.js. So we have to configure this images. So what we have to do is open up your next config.mjs over here. Inside this next config.js, what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure this images, open it, and inside the remote patterns, open it. I'm gonna open the array, and I'm going to say inside that object host name is going to be this. Copy this. Let's keep this as array of objects and paste it over here, because later we need to do much more. Refresh it. Oops. I think it stopped. Yes. Let's rerun it. Okay. Oh, it is not supposed to be an array because already it's an array. That's the reason. Okay. So if you want to add one more name, you can create one more object and you can add it over there. My bad. Now it's fine. And if you refresh it, you should get that user detail, that authenticated user detail, and it's still loading. And now look at that. You have your image over there. How cool is that, right? So now all we have to do is to implement the authentication. So okay, so all the way to the bottom of this, right after here, I need to bring the authentication stuff, right? I need to bring the authentication part. So only if the user is there, if I have the user object, then I need to bring the user, an icon which is going to have. So let's bring a button, and inside here I'm going to bring that CI logout icon. Save these changes, and now you can see we having this button. For this, I'm just going to say class name. So BG is going to be transparent. Okay, transparent. So save these changes. Now you don't have anything. And for this icon, I'm going to make some changes. So for this icon, let's make the size of this icon is going to be 25, and the class name, of course, it's going to be text neutral 400, and say the changes. This is how it looks. Okay, so for this button, I'm gonna say on click, I'm gonna say handle logout, say this changes. And now if I click this, it should log out. Look at that. If I click here, we're gonna bring it. If I click login, and we're gonna log in one more time, and you're gonna get the data, and you have this function. It doesn't matter how many times you are refreshing it. So don't worry about this slight loading. Later we're gonna fix it, but still you can see that it's working perfectly fine. So we successfully implemented the Supabase database with our front end, and we authenticated successfully, and we successfully handle the user details perfectly by using the context providers and everything. I hope you guys learned a lot, right? So so stay tuned for the next chapter.